Honda's smallest SUV, the HR-V, has been completely redesigned for 2023. It looks bigger, slimmer and more sophisticated inside and out. The HR-V is Honda's smallest crossover SUV, and it sits below the CR-V, Passport and Pilot in Honda's lineup. The first generation HR-V is based on the Honda Fit hatchback and debuted in North America in 2016. Now, 7 years later, there's an all-new HR-V for 2023, and Honda's smallest SUV just got bigger this year. Avid followers of the Honda brand will understand that the Fit is no longer in production, meaning this new HR-V is no longer based on the Fit. Instead, it's based on the larger Civic, meaning the new HR-V is roomier than its predecessor, especially in the back seat. Unfortunately, the trick storage solution made famous by the previous HR-V is gone in this iteration. Gone are Honda's Magic Seats, which let users flip up the bottom of the rear seats to keep tall objects on the ground. It's surprising, because this feature sets the HR-V apart from the rest of the class. With the new generation of HR-V comes a new generation of technology, and this model has a design similar to that of the new Civic. The standard size for the center screen is 7 inches, but the XL has a 9-inch unit. Both screens support Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone integration, but only the XL allows wireless operation. Unlike the Civic, the HR-V doesn't offer an integrated navigation system, so you'll be out of luck if you're off the beaten path in an area without cell service. The 2023 HR-V's engine is a non-turbo 2.0-liter 4-cylinder that produces 158 horsepower and 138 pounds-to-foot of torque. Those new numbers represent bumps of 17 horsepower and 11 pound-feet from the previous HR-V's engine, but given the model's larger size, we were hoping for a little more power. Honda expects the HR-V to be an entry-level model for SUV buyers, pitting it against rivals like the Chevrolet Trailblazer, Mazda CX-30, Toyota Corolla Cross and Volkswagen Taos. We think it will satisfy buyers looking for a useful small SUV, although its rivals can do the same, sometimes with a little more personality. Our first driving impressions of the HR-V were mixed. We didn't like the artificial feel of the slightly too light steering, but we got used to it over time. The engine and transmission also felt relatively adequate at low speeds around town. In fact, the HR-V takes just 10 seconds to hit 60 miles per hour, which is comfortable even for this class. The HR-V's most winning features are its smooth and responsive brakes and agile handling. We were a little surprised by the comfort of the Honda HR-V. Because the HR-V's front seat cushions are shockingly firm. It's almost like sitting on a wooden bench. There's also no lumbar support adjustment, which is surprising and disappointing, especially in our fully loaded test car. Ride comfort is excellent. The HR-V doesn't filter out all road bumps, but it does an admirable job of smoothing them out without oversteer or body control. We also appreciate how quiet the cabin is. The HR-V does a good job of keeping road, wind and ambient noise to a minimum, and unless you're revving the engine, you don't hear much from the powertrain. The climate control had no problem cooling the cabin, but it kept the temperature oddly too cold in any setting we chose. Perhaps this is to compensate for the lack of rear air vents, another knock against the HR-V's overall comfort rating. The HR-V's interior is one of its strongest points. It has one of the most spacious cabins in this SUV class, with plenty of room in both rows. Larger door openings and accessible seat heights make getting in and out easier. Honda's new touchscreen interface, which is included in many new models, is easy to get used to and use. Steering wheel control is also very natural and none of the gauges are obtrusive or oddly placed. Seat adjustment for the driver is relatively limited in width, but the adjustments available offer a good range of motion. We also like how easy it is to see in all directions from the cabin. Honda doesn't offer a surround view camera system, but the rear view camera offers multiple viewing angles, which is A+. Technology isn't a strong match for the HR-V. We can see why the HR-V forgoes native navigation in favor of smartphone integration, but it's a nice option for those who always prefer it. HR-V wireless CarPlay and Android Auto with wireless connectivity. It's a nice perk at this price point, and it also offers a wireless charging pad and 3 USB charging ports in the front cabin. But these will have to be shared with the passengers in the back, as strangely there are no ports in the back. Audiophiles will also be impressed with the HR-V sound system. The HR-V has a fairly extensive suite of driver aids, but many of them are tuned very conservatively. The adaptive cruise control accelerates slowly and stops with overreaction, and the blind spot warning system frequently issues warnings for cars we think are too far away. We couldn't really use them with passengers on board. Carrying capacity is important for an SUV, and the HR-V is one of the best in its class in this regard. Rear cargo space seems more generous than the numbers suggest, as the space is very usable and easily accessible. The rear seat backs can be folded almost flat along with the cargo floor to facilitate the transport of longer items. If you are installing your car seats, this will be easy. Ample rear legroom, large doors, and easy-to-access latch anchors and top tethers help make your life easier. A small caveat: there is no top tether for the middle position, so forward-facing car seats must be installed in the outer seat. Cabin storage for small items is pretty good, but not great. We like the rubberized bridge compartment behind the shifter, where you can store a smartphone for charging, and the center armrest bin is plenty deep. Otherwise, the door pockets are fairly small and the glove box is average. We're also a little disappointed that Honda did away with the cool and smart rear seat bottoms. The all-wheel drive HR-V gets an EPA estimated 27 miles per gallon in combined driving, which is slightly less than its closest rivals, some of which have more powerful engines. After driving it on our 115-mile evaluation loop, we saw an impressive 31.6 miles per gallon in fairly light traffic. We imagine having passengers on board will tax this poor engine a lot. Honda has done a great job of putting the money where the money is with the HR-V interior. All touch points are soft or cushioned, and the controls have a nice quality feel to them. Aesthetically, it's also a big step up from the previous car and a strong performer against the rest of the class. Pricing for the HR-V is also surprisingly competitive, with our top-of-the-line model coming in at just over $30,000, which is cheaper than many competitors. Honda's warranty remains quite remarkable compared to what other manufacturers offer. The HR-V has 3 years/36,000 miles of basic and 5 years/60,000 miles of powertrain coverage. If you want to buy Honda HR-V, choose HR-V Sport at the best price. It has some extra features over the base LX that you'll appreciate long-term ownership, such as a leather-wrapped steering wheel and heated front seats. The XL is nice, but for the price, you might consider the base CR-V instead. Honda HR-V models. The 2023 Honda HR-V is available in 3 trim levels: LX, Sport and XL. All are powered by a 2.0-liter 4-cylinder engine mated to a continuously variable automatic transmission. Front-wheel drive is standard, and all-wheel drive is optional. LX. The entry-level HR-V LX starts you off with 17-inch wheels, LED headlights, push-button start, single-zone automatic climate control, height-adjustable driver's seat, 4-speaker audio system, 7-inch touchscreen, 3 USB ports, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone integration. Every HR-V comes with a range of advanced driver aids, including forward collision mitigation, warns you of an impending collision and applies the brakes in certain scenarios. Reducing lane departure, warns you of lane departure when the turn signal is not used and can automatically steer to maintain lane position. Adaptive cruise control, maintains a distance set by the driver between the Honda and the vehicle in front. Sports, upgrades the HR-V with 18-inch gloss black wheels, remote engine start, different grille, heated mirrors with black painted caps, chrome exhaust tip, tinted rear windows, keyless entry, leather-wrapped steering wheel and shifter, front seat heating, 6-speaker audio system, blind spot monitor with rear cross traffic alert. Alerts you when a vehicle is in your blind spot when changing lanes or reversing. XL. The top spec HR-V comes with sport equipment, minus that trim styling upgrades. It also 17-inch wheels, body colored mirror caps, hatch, automatic dimming of the rear view mirror, ambient lighting, 2-zone automatic climate control, electrically adjustable driver's seat, leather upholstery, 9-inch central touchscreen, 8-speaker audio system, wireless connectivity for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, satellite radio, wireless smartphone charger. Parking sensors warn you about invisible obstacles in front or behind the car when parking.